This is Football Night in America, built by Lowe's.
Welcome to the Football Night in America podcast presented by Lowe's. Maria Taylor, Matthew Berry, Mike Florio, and Jason Garrett here with you to break down everything that we saw. Week 1, Sunday football was back. It's a national holiday. And guys, Aaron Rodgers was wearing a brand new jersey, and he went back to visit his ex, and he said, I'm going to have 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and I'm going to walk away with the win. It looked good in a Steelers uniform.
It looked really good. If you're a Steeler fan, coach, player, to think that he'd go in there, the Jets, in week 1 and throw 4 touchdowns and they score 34 points, it's really all you could ask for. And I really loved what they did, the blend they had on offense between what Arthur Smith, the offensive coordinator, likes to do. He likes to be under center, run the football, play action, movements, and then get Aaron Rodgers in the gun, the stuff we're used to seeing him for years do. I thought the blend was perfect, and it really was all on him. The defense didn't play very well, and they didn't run the ball very well. He was awfully good today.
What's amazing is if you had told us before the week started that one game was going to have a final score of 34-32, pick which one it would be. The last one that we would have picked,
no doubt,
is Jets-Steelers, and it was fitting 2 years after Aaron Rodgers played 4 snaps in week 1 before he ended his season with the torn Achilles. 4 touchdown passes, 0 interceptions, 28th game all-time like that, tying Tom Brady for the record. So he's still got it now. It's a long season. He's got to stay healthy. Yeah. It's going to be a meat grinder. They got some tough games. And they almost lost. Like, that kind of performance, you think they win 34-14. They still needed a 60-yard field goal from Cris Boswell to win the game.
Yeah, I mean, listen, that's classic Aaron Rodgers, though. He gets the ball back with 3.5 minutes to go. They're down. Drive them to get into scoring position, which they did, right? And it helps when you got a guy like Boswell that I think that kick would have been good from 70 yards, right? Yeah. So really impressive game. And I think the key, Mike, to everything you just said, I agree with all that. Like, it's a long season. It's going to get cold in Pittsburgh, and they've got a couple of division games that are going to be really tough. The other question is will Aaron Rodgers trust Arthur Smith? Because that's one of the issues, Jason, that we've seen over the years with Rodgers is he likes to call his own stuff. He likes to check out of the plays quite often at the line of scrimmage. And I think that was one of the things that went wrong with the Jets is they just wasn't on the same page with the coaching staff. And so I think I agree with you. I thought Arthur Smith called a great game. And so if he'll trust that and let them run the ball, set up play action and do the things, I think things will look good. I was also most impressed on the other side of the ball, right? We talk about this, like you want to look good. When you're running into your ex, you want to make sure you look good. Aaron Rodgers looked good. So did Justin Fields. Like, I know this is a tough loss, but if I'm a Jets fan, I come away from this game saying, we have a quarterback. We have a quarterback. You know, like they missed on the 2-point conversion. Garrett Wilson, if he hangs onto the ball at the end, maybe they get down, they get another shot at a field goal. I thought Justin Fields played really, really well in this game, really impressively. Everyone's going to talk about Rodgers, and I get it. He's the big name. He's a first-ballot Hall of Famer. But this was a hell of a performance from Justin Fields as well.
He did play well, and I like the approach by Aaron Glenn. They did not play well on defense. We saw that. But they ran the ball. And they want to be a physical football team, and that's going to help any quarterback, particularly a guy like Justin Fields, who you can do so much off of that because of his ability to run the ball, get out in space on those nakeds. But, back to Aaron Rodgers, if you think back to when Matt LaFleur took over at Green Bay, do you remember the early part of that season? There was a little bit of conflict.
The audible thing.
Yeah, am I going to do what Aaron's done forever? I'm going to do what Matt LaFleur wants to do, coming from the Rams and his background. And it seemed like they had some issues early on, but maybe midway through the year, it's like, hey, they came to this conclusion that let's do a little bit of both. And I think Pittsburgh has done a nice job getting to that point quicker. We saw that here in week 1.
Absolutely. And look, Aaron Rodgers needs to have a good season to erase the past 2. The Steelers are desperate to win a playoff game. They haven't since the 2016 season. The moves they made this year are so uncharacteristic. Them DK Metcalf, paying him that kind of money. They've never done that with a stranger to the organization. Trading for Jalen Ramsey, waiting for Aaron Rodgers for 2 months. They're ready to take this thing to the postseason and win. It's still not going to be easy. Yeah. The defense is going to have to be better. They got a lot of tough games on the schedule. And if they would have lost today, it would have been early panic button for a lot of Steelers fans because everything we've done culminates in we can't go beat the Jets. Are you kidding me? So it's very good they got out of there with a win.
It would have been a good week 1 overreaction. That's
Yes.
what the week 1 is all
sure.
about.
Yes.
Let's talk about the Packers and the Lions. Micah Parsons, we were waiting to see his debut, and he played 30 snaps. He did have a sack. He had a couple of pressures, impacted the game instantly. But, he said that it was a very toxic 6 months for him, and then he had chills when he came out for this debut, and it just felt good to see him enjoying playing football again.
And he got a crazy reaction, rightfully so. The Packers are excited to have him. They became the betting favorite to win that division when Micah Parsons joined the Green Bay Packers. It was Detroit. Obviously, you've got the Vikings there as well. So that's the kind of impact that this player has and can have on this team. And while you say he only played 30 snaps, credit to the entire Green Bay defense because they laid the Detroit Lions, one of the most explosive offenses in the NFL last year, look very, very ordinary. First fewest points in a game since week 14 of 2023 for the Lions. All right, listen to this. Jahmyr Gibbs, 9 rushes for 19 yards. David Montgomery, 11 for 25. They averaged under 2.5 yards per carry. Like, when has a Dan Campbell team not been able to run? And they didn't. I thought this stat line was also telling, Maria, Jahmyr Gibbs had 10 receptions for 31 yards. It tells you, like, they were just under pressure constantly. Goff had to get rid of it, and they immediately swarmed to the ball. Because if you get the ball in Jahmyr Gibbs' hands 10 times, and he can only get 31 yards in the reception, it just tells you how they were swarming to the ball on every single possession.
He just speeds everything up. Watch the opposing offense play when he's on the other side of the ball. Everything just happens faster.
Yeah.
He gets off the ball. He'll win one-on-ones. He'll destroy average players. He's going against Penei Sewell, the best right tackle in football, and he's really dominating him both in the pass game and in the run game. So you're going to have to double team him a lot. Other guys are going to get good looks and good opportunities, but Goff was sped up the whole game. The opportunity to sit back there and wait for a deep over route, not today. And that's how Micah has played since he's come into the National Football League. And I liked how Green Bay used him. He lined up over the left defensive end. They put him over the center. They put him over the left guard. I mean, time and time again, he's in a different spot, really causing them to communicate and deal with him a lot of different ways.
Maria, you mentioned his comments about how toxic the last 6 months have been. And I give Micah Parsons and his agent, David Mulugeta, a ton of credit. They played the chess match with Jerry Jones to perfection. Jerry Jones talk. All Micah Parsons ever did was issue his statement explaining why he wanted out, and he wasn't bluffing. All that said, this really should have happened earlier. I feel bad for him that he got thrust onto a new team 10 days before the first game of the season. This is something that should have happened before the draft. If it doesn't happen before the draft, let's bring this thing to a head. The teams have the power under the collective bargaining agreement. The players don't, but credit to Micah Parsons. He wanted out, and it's so hard for players in the NFL to get out. And he got out to a place where they're paying him more than the Cowboys ever would have paid him, and he had an impact right out of the gates. And he knows that the Lions aren't going to go easily. He knows he's going to have battles with Penei Sewell, but man, right away, he got the better of Penei Sewell, didn't he?
He's knocking the line of scrimmage backwards.
Yeah.
Penei Sewell's a freak now.
Yeah.
He is a freak. And Penei won a few of them himself, but he was a dominant player, very impactful in week 1.
My concern here is, and I think you noticed it, listen, it's one game, you don't want to overreact. The Lions, have a ton of talent top to bottom, but I think you noticed the Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn being missing. It's going to take a while for these new coordinators to get up to speed because Jared Goff had one touchdown pass, and it was an oh, by the way, at the end. Isaac Tesla, the rookie, had an unbelievable first catch in the NFL. It's a crazy highlight, but up until that, it was, with 55 seconds left, the game had already been decided. And so that's going to get cleaned up, like offensively and defensively, because I thought the Packers looked really strong.
It's got to be hard, though. You go 15-2 one year, and you're the 1 seed, and you get bounced at home in the divisional round by your Commanders, and then you're 0-1. It's just deflating to all of a sudden realize everything we worked for last year is gone, and just like that, we have half as many losses as we had for all of last year.
Yeah.
And they are in, I think you can make an argument, the toughest division in football, right? We know the Packers are obviously going to be good. I think the Vikings will be. The Bears can be really improved as well.
The real practical thing for Detroit for me is the 2 new offensive linemen. Ragnow is gone.
Yep.
Zeitler is gone. So they got a couple young guys in there at center and left guard, and that's a question mark. that's a question mark for them. They've been so dominant up front over the last few years.
Yeah, they'll have to go back and answer it with Dan Campbell. Guys, it is time to earn your Sunday presented by Lowe's. That means we are in the speed round, and I mean speed, okay? You're going to give me the first thing that comes to mind when I mention, actually, I'll start with you on this one, Coach. Daniel Jones, the Colts dominating Tua and the Dolphins.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm so happy for him. Not a great environment for him in New York for a lot of years. Went to Indy, won the job, played really well. I think the fit between him and Shane Steichen's really good for the Colts.
Start your office pools as to the day that Tyreek Hill will be traded back to the Chiefs. Seriously, he's going to be
I like that
this
call.
year's Devontae Adams.
Mm-hmm.
And we interviewed Tyreek Hill at the Super Bowl and asked him about whether he has any regrets in leaving the Chiefs, and he said, yes, I do.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to need him. They're going to need him. And I think it's going to happen. Just like Devontae Adams last year going to the Jets, I think it's going to be Tyreek Hill going to the Chiefs.
And if that happens, I'm going to slip in a quick fantasy nugget.
Okay.
Pick up Malik Washington, who's a young wide receiver there for Miami that plays the Tyreek Hill position. If Tyreek will leave, Malik Washington can absolutely fly. But my one word is legit. I think this was legit. Shane Steichen is a good coach, and he just hasn't had a quarterback. And now he's got a quarterback in Daniel Jones who is mobile and can run the kind of RPO and kind of offense that Steichen likes to run. Like, they have talent everyone else. They have a decent offensive line. Obviously, Jonathan Taylor, nice pass catchers as well. Tyler Warren is going to be a beast in this league. And so I think this was legit.
Mm-hmm. How about the Broncos sacking Cam Ward 6 times?
You know, Denver led the league in sacks last year, and they started off again with 6 today. And, you know, it's hard to play quarterback in the National Football League. It's hard to be a rookie. It's hard to be a rookie on the worst team in the league from last year. And so Cam Ward, there are going to be some growing pains. Not an easy place to play, to go to Denver against that defense in Week 1. They actually hung in there for a while, but, you know, Denver's legit. They're a good football team.
Yeah, my first thought is those sacks were necessary. The Denver offense wasn't as good out of the gates as we thought it would be. Bo Nix wasn't as good as we thought he'd be. That's Sean Payton's specialty. He's lucky Vance Joseph is still there to run the defense. They've added some pieces to it. That defense should be very good, and it was good enough today. Without that defense, they could have been upset.
Mm-hmm. I'd say patience. Yeah. Last year in Week 1, the three rookie quarterbacks that started the first week, Bo Nix, Jane Daniels, Caleb Williams, none of them threw a touchdown pass in their debut last year. And so Cam Ward went on the road to Denver to the best defense in the NFL and came within 1 score of beating these guys. They're rebuilding something in Tennessee, and so I would say patience. If I was a Titans fan, you never want to say there's a moral victory, but like, they hung tough with a hell of a defense.
What about Pete Carroll beating Mike Vrabel in their NFL debuts?
You know, I just thought about the decision he made to bring Geno Smith there. You know, when you're starting a program, to have a quarterback like that, you know him. He's accomplished. He can play. I thought that was a really good decision. I kept thinking about that today. Genty's going to be a guy who's going to be a featured player for them going forward, but Geno was the star of the day. That's a good fit there. It's a good partnership.
The Patriots still have a lot of talent holes that need to be filled. I thought they'd win. I thought they'd pull it off. Credit to the Raiders for going there and winning. And it is a little awkward when a guy who owns a piece of the Raiders has a statue out in front of the Patriots Stadium. I don't know how that worked today with the Tom Brady statue, but still, Brady gets the bragging rights for now on the Patriots.
Underrated was my reaction here. You mentioned Geno Smith. I thought he was brilliant. He's somebody that's sort of kind of been forgotten, you know. And how about Jacoby Myers going back as well? Had a big game as part with that connection with him and Geno Smith as well. And so I just think, you know, because that division, you've got Mahomes and the Chiefs. You've got the Broncos who are up and coming. You've got Jim Harbaugh and the Chargers, right? There's just so much star power in that division. Everyone's just sort of forgotten about the Raiders. But good for Pete Carroll, who throughout his career as a coach has always gotten the most out of players. And you saw it today with Geno Smith, Jacoby Myers. And honestly, that defense, which going into this week, Pro Football Focus said was the 32nd ranked secondary, the final 7 drives for the Patriots, 5 punts, an interception, and a field goal.
Patrick Graham, their defensive coordinator, does an excellent job disguising things.
Yeah.
And Drake May looked confused to me at different times throughout the game. He never really got into a rhythm throwing the ball.
By the way, you guys know what I meant. Their debut with their new teams. We got here at 10 a.m., it's 10 p.m., and they don't know what a lightning round is, okay? The Bucks beating the Falcons in a wild finish.
Wow.
Hey, speed round, you know my word. moxie. I like the moxie of Michael Penix. I like the moxie of Baker Mayfield. I really do.
I really think this one is one the Bucs needed. They've been overlooked. They had 2 tough losses to the Falcons last year in high-scoring games. They're on a mission to prove a lot of people wrong, and it was good to see them pull it out. I feel bad for the Falcons, but the Buccaneers really are the better team, and it shouldn't have been as close as it was.
Just resilient. Baker Mayfield is underrated. I think he is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, and he's never discussed that way. He's never talked about in the upper echelon of quarterbacks, and he willed his team to win today like he has done so many times since he's gotten to Tampa Bay.
Last but not least, the Giants failing to score a touchdown for their 3rd straight season opener.
Yeah, it's the offensive line. My Commanders, we have a nice defense. We don't have a dominant defense. I guess we'll see. But, poor Russell Wilson just never had a chance to get any kind of rhythm going because they were all over him. That offensive line is a mess. And if you can't block, it's hard to score points.
I'll just say this. Russell Wilson's $11.5 million incentive package relied in part upon the Giants going 17-0. And I had said in the offseason, if the Giants go 17-0, I will get John Mara's face tattooed on my arm. So my arm is safe.
We're happy for you.
So I'm very happy.
You said that out loud.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Why John Mayer?
No, John Mara, the owner of the team.
Oh, I thought you said John Mayer.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
John Mara.
That would have been random.
Why would you do
Right.
John Mayer or John Mayer.
That would have been.
Body's a wonderland.
Yeah.
We got to go.
Well, off the rails. It's week 1.
We don't even need to keep going. Thank you so much for joining us. In week 2, we've got Atlanta going to Minnesota. We'll have Football Night in America starting at 7 Eastern, and we're going to drink more coffee before our next pod.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.